Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop, and today we're gonna be doing a versus video between the Nike Book 1 and the Adidas Ae 1, right? So this is the battle of first signature shoes. Also Nike versus Adidas, Devin Booker versus Anthony Edwards. Whose shoe is better, right? So of course, as far as the price goes, the Ae 1 is way better, right? For 140 bucks, the Book 1 I think is overpriced. Especially for a first signature shoe, and also especially for the tech that you get. I guess the material though is nice for the price, kind of, you know. But anyways, the Ae 1 retails for $120 and the Book 1 is 140 bucks. But yeah, that $20 price difference. If you guys want to cop either of these shoes, I try to leave an affiliate link in the description box. But I don't know what Nike and Adidas is doing. They're making their shoes really hard to get again. You know what I mean? The Book 1's like all the colorways are sold out. The Ae 1, all the colorways are sold out pretty much on Adidas.com in pretty much all the sizes. I think I saw a few sizes and a few colorways on Foot Locker for the Ae 1. But anyways, if you guys do want to cop, I try to leave an affiliate link in the description box. If you guys do choose to get either of these shoes, it does help me out if you do buy it from the link or the actual like product below this video. So again, thank you guys always for all the support that you guys give me. But let's get it started right off with the Tracciones, right? So for both of these shoes, they're actually both like, I guess this is more like semi-translucent kind of. So both of these outsoles have translucent rubber, and I guess they're both herringbone as well, but the Ae 1 is like a very enlarged herringbone, right? But anyways, which traction is better? So if you're playing on a clean court, I would tie it up. They both have absolutely amazing traction, top tier bites. You're gonna be good to go. It stops on a dime. So yeah, if you're playing on a clean court, you're gonna be good to go. Amazing top tier traction. If you're playing on a dusty court, however, the Ae 1 is definitely better. It bites through dust better. It picks up less dust, and you're gonna have to wipe less frequently, right? And also for the Book 1, what I noticed is like if I let a little too much dust build up on the Book 1, it did get a little bit dangerous. You know, I would slip out a little bit. It would be a pretty inconsistent. But if I kept up with my wipes, which was pretty easy because it's a very easy and slight wipe to wipe off all the dust for the Book 1, then I was good to go, right? But I did need to wipe a good amount more on the dusty setting for the Book 1. So if you're playing on a dusty court, they're both good, and the Book 1, if you keep up with your wipes, you should be fine. But I would say the Ae 1 is better, right? And I guess if you are playing on an outdoor court, however, the Book 1 is going to be a lot better, right? The rubber is actually pretty soft, right? The grooves are also, it's kind of weird because like you guys see these parts, they kind of go in. So this part actually isn't touching the ground. So we do have less surface area with the ground. So because of that, it'll probably have worse durability on an outdoor court, comparing it to the Book 1s, because the Book 1, the rubber is way harder. There's a lot more grooves, and I guess the grooves are a little bit deeper as well. So if you're playing on outdoor court, Book 1's gonna be better for durability. But if you're playing on an indoor court, I would suggest the Ae 1. You know, the Ae 1 takes the cake because it's just a little bit better on dust. But of course, if you're playing on a clean court, they're both amazing. Now moving on to the heel to toe transition, both are actually very smooth. So here in the heel we have a little bit of a curved shape, but also this exposed kind of like, it's supposed to be a cage, but it actually has a little bit of compression. So it's nice here in the heel, and same thing here in the Ae 1. They have a nice little compression. However, it's pretty caged. I mean, so it does feel a little bit clunkier in the Ae 1, but it's actually not that bad for some reason. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel that clunky. And then coming into the forefoot, we have a nice curved shape, and also for the Book 1 we have a nice curved shape as well. It's like they're both around the same as far as the forefoot goes. They're not super curved, you know what I mean? And then for the flex, the Book 1 is very flexible, right? Same thing with the Ae 1, a lot of flex, but the Ae 1 definitely feels a little bit springier, right? And you guys can see the actual plate, it is full length here. I feel like that has something to do with that, even though it is probably just plastic. Because of that, it does kind of feel a little bit springier compared to the Book 1. You know what I mean? It just feels more soft and flexible. It does have a midfoot shank plate though, it's just plastic. So the Ae 1 feels a little bit springier, but they're both very smooth. And now moving on to the cushioning setup. So it's pretty weird. I don't know what Adidas did, but then like it just feels better for the cushioning, you know what I mean? Even though it is lower to the ground as well, right? So if you're looking for court feel, they're both really, really good for court feel, but the AE1 feels a little bit lower to the ground. I mean, of course, it's pretty hard to tell the difference, you know what I mean? I had to, I put on both of the shoes, played in both of the shoes at the same time, and then just nitpicking, the AE1 was just a tiny bit lower, but the Book 1's still really nice, right? But one thing that I didn't like about the Book 1, however, was the impact protection in the forefoot, you know what I mean? So here in the heel, if you're doing heel strikes and stuff like that, you should be fine. I didn't really have any issues with that, right? There's a good amount of compression from the actual like foam or cage, you know what I mean? And also there is a top-loaded heel zoom unit, which I think was like 14 or 16 millimeters thick. So the heel, you're fine, but in the forefoot, I don't know what it was, because the AE1 still feels lower to the ground in the forefoot. It's weird, you know what I mean? But then I didn't have any issues landing hard here in the forefoot. It didn't really hurt that much, you know what I mean? Like, of course, it's not the best for impact protection, you know, comparing it to like, I don't know, like a full-length Zoom Strobel unit, you know, like the Zoom GT Jump 2 or something like that. But the AE1 was adequate for me. But then for the Book 1, for me, when I was doing hard landings, it hurt my forefoot, you know what I mean? So just be careful with that. As far as step and comfort goes, they're both actually really comfortable, you know what I mean? Here in the heel, we have the exposed foam. It's full-length jet boost, right? And you can see the stroke board is actually really soft, and also there's a really large cutout here in the heel. It's a circle cutout, which makes the boost really easy to feel as well. So in the heel, they're both really, really nice. I would say I like the compression from the actual kind of like midsole better here in the Book 1. The AE1 is actually just, this is all caging, so it doesn't compress as much. But other than that, I do like the AE1 because my feet didn't really hurt even on harder impacts, right? Step and comfort, they're both really, really comfortable. Court feels a little bit better in the AE1 as well. So because of those reasons, I like the AE1 just a tiny bit better. But of course, you know, if the forefoot impact protection was a little bit better, or it wasn't an issue for me, that I would probably pick the Book 1 because I also really like the Book 1 cushioning setup. But because of the forefoot impact protection, I would say the AE1 is better for cushion. And then moving on to the upper. So as far as the quality goes, I would say the Book 1 is definitely better, right? So we have this really nice leather material. It's thin, it's super duper soft, conforms to your foot extremely well. It's also pretty dang supportive. So I do like that. And then we do also have a textile material in the back quarter panels, right? So here on the medial and also on the lateral side. Also, another thing that I like about the Book 1 better is the padding, right? The padding is absolutely amazing. So for the tongue, we have a lot of padding. It's very, very comfortable. It's an independent tongue as well. And then here in the ankle area, there's a lot of padding, which makes it feel super duper cozy. Here in the AE1, however, of course, we have this crazy plastic panel, and it's both on the lateral and medial side, right? And also we have these holes. And then here in the toe box, we have this kind of like felt material, which it does change materials depending on like the colorway, but in this orange colorway, it does get super duper dirty, right? And also another thing I don't like about this plastic is, I don't know if it's coming out on camera, but look at that. Just like, look at all these scuff marks, you know what I mean? It does get pretty hard to clean off as well. But yeah, it's super duper supportive, and it of course is thicker, but it's still kind of like it still conforms to your foot really well, right? So I do like the overall material, but of course I like the upper here for the Book 1 better. It's better for quality and it's super duper comfortable. And then for the tongue, there's like not a lot of, there's like zero padding actually, right? But one thing I do like about the tongue in the A1, however, it is held down by these two elastic straps on both sides of the tongue, so kind of like keeps the tongue in place and also like kind of stretches over your foot, so it gives you a little bit better of a fit as well. And then here in the ankle area, it's also like there's very minimal padding too, right? So overall, I actually like the Book 1 material better, especially on foot. You know, it's cozy here in the back of the shoe, but still thin here in the toe box. So there's the material there. Moving on to the fit. So I went true to size for the AE1. I went up half a size for the Book 1, and they both fit me very, very snug, right? But I would say the Book 1 still is snug. I went up half a size for the Book 1 and it's still snug for me here in the toe box. So I even think I should have gone up a full size. You know what I mean? Because it's so like thin here in the toe box, so like right on top of my toes, it's just like really, really snug, and I don't like it. And I feel like that has to do with all this padding here, right? Because it's so thick. I think all that padding is pushing my foot forward. But anyways, yeah, so I went up half a size for the Book 1, true to size for the AE1. They both fit me extremely snug, but I would say the AE1 fits me better because I don't like the Book 1 fit here at the tip of the toe. You know what I mean? Like, it's just really snug. So the AE1 is not like that. It's still snug, but not as snug as the Book 1. And I did go true to size for the AE1, right? So overall, like, if you want a really snug fit, do what I did for both of the shoes. Go up half a size for the Book 1 and go true to size for the AE1. If you want a little bit roomier, I'll probably, you know, go up a full size, right, for the Book 1 and go up a half size for the AE1. But for me, like I said, I like the fit for the AE1 a little bit better for me. And also, like I said, I think the tongue with the elastic bands improves the fit as well. And now moving on to the support and lockdown. So that is where the Book 1 kind of fails a little bit too, right? So as you guys can see, for the lateral counters, there's none, especially here in the forefoot, right? It's just the material. And like I said, because this material is supportive, I think it's not terrible, but still it's not the best, you know what I mean? Especially comparing to the AE1. So look at this. I mean, I can just roll the material out like this. You know what I mean? So like I said, you know, because it is a leather material and it is supportive, it wasn't terrible for me. But again, I'm not a super heavy guy. You know what I mean? I'm like 165 pounds. So I just felt my foot kind of hitting the material a little bit and like kind of like rolling it a little bit over the footbed, just a tiny bit. But it was adequate enough for me. It wasn't a huge deal. You know what I mean? But I definitely feel like if you're a heavier guy and you do a lot of lateral movements, you'll definitely feel a little bit more. So just be careful with that. But like I said, it was adequate for me, right? And then here in the heel, we have an internal TPU heel counter. So you're covered there, right? But here in the AE1, I was good to go, right? Because of this plastic cage, my foot is not coming out of the footbed. It doesn't even like roll out that much. You know what I mean? So here in the forefoot, I'm covered. Here in the midfoot, I'm covered. And here in the heel, I'm covered as well. We also have this like heel counter, this plastic heel counter. So yeah, lateral containment, of course, AE1 is way better. Also, lateral stability, I didn't really have any issues with lateral instability in either of the shoes. However, let's see which shoe is wider. I'm sure it's the same. It's the same width, right? So they're both wide, they're both low to the ground. So I didn't have any issues with lateral instability. Also, heel lockdown is extremely good in both of the shoes, right? With all this padding here in the Book 1, it keeps your heel locked down. And with this mid cut or high cut design, it kept my heel locked down as well here in the AE1. So support and lockdown was good for me in both of the shoes, besides the forefoot lateral containment issue, which wasn't a huge issue, like I said, but it definitely wasn't as good as the AE1, right? So there's that. Moving on to the weight of the shoes. So of course, the AE1 is actually quite heavy. This is like 15.5 ounces or something. And Book 1 is actually surprisingly super duper light. You know what I mean? It looks like the Air Force 1, and the Air Force 1 is super heavy. So you would think the Book 1 is pretty dang heavy, but it's actually not, right? So let's check the weight, right? So the Book 1 is like, I think it was like 11.65 ounces, which is extremely light. You know, the average weight of my shoes are around 12.5 ounces, so almost an ounce lighter than average. Is pretty crazy. But then the AE1 is like 15. Yeah, 15.6 ounces, guys. It's like 4 ounces heavier. The AE1 is 4 full ounces heavier than the Book 1, which is crazy. Yeah, you could definitely tell the difference in weight, you know, which kind of sucks, you know what I mean? But the AE1, the weight wasn't that big of an issue for me. You know what I mean? The upper is actually quite minimal, like not super minimal, of course, but like nothing protrudes out like crazy. It's not bulky really at all, and it's really responsive because the traction is just so dang. It's top tier traction. Cushion's very comfortable, right? But of course, it's very low to the ground and responsive as well. Lockdown and support's great. So my foot was locked into the shoe. It wasn't like sliding around or anything, so I felt extremely quick playing in the AE1, right? The Book 1, it is lighter. You definitely feel that it is lighter. However, it just feels a little bit like, not bulky, but just like a little bit, you have a little something on your foot, especially in the back of the shoe, right? So you definitely feel that. And also because of kind of like the lateral containment, I didn't feel as quick, right? And also if I was playing on a dusty court, I didn't feel as quick also. So because of those reasons, I would say the AE1 is a little bit more responsive. But of course, if we're going solely on weight, the Book 1 is better. You know what I mean? So there's that. Moving on to the ventilation, they're both bad. So yeah, your feet are gonna be pretty warm in both of these shoes. I would say the Book One is a little bit hotter though, right? So there's that. Moving on to the aesthetics, definitely the Book One. The Book One, actually, I don't know, guys, though. The AE One is just such a great design. It's such a good looking shoe too. So it's kind of hard, but I definitely feel like, if you want to wear something casually, the Book One is the shoe to get. You know what I mean? If you want to wear a shoe off court as well as, play with it on court, the Book One is the shoe to get. I guess besides the Fresh Foam BB V2, that shoe, especially with the colorway that I have, that's also a shoe that you can wear off court as well. But the Book One looks great, you know what I mean? And you can definitely rock it off court. So I think I'm gonna give the edge to the Book One. But I'm kind of curious, what do you guys think looks better? Because I feel like a lot of people like both of the shoes aesthetically, right? So wrapping things up, all right, so going solely on performance, I definitely feel like the AE one's better. The only thing I don't like as much is the weight, of course, but like I said, it was a huge issue because it's so responsive. However, if it was like 12.5 ounces, or if it was the same weight as the Book One, that would be amazing. You know what I mean? I think they did a little bit too much with the plastic wings, right? But also, it is $20 cheaper than the Book One. You know what I mean? So $20 cheaper and better performance. The AE one takes the cake, you know what I mean? But of course, the Book One is still super duper nice. I really thoroughly enjoyed playing in the Book One. However, in my personal opinion, I think the AE one is just overall a better performer. And also for most play styles, right? If you're a guard, it's gonna be an amazing shoe. Also, if you're a bigger dude, you should be fine. Amazing support and cushion is still really, really nice, And like for the Book One, there were like the minor issues, you know what I mean? Like the lateral containment, also the forefoot impact protection, and the performance on dust for the outsole. Although it wasn't terrible, if I let a little bit too much dust build up, it would slide out, a little dangerously. So because of those minor reasons, I think the AE one is better, right? Anyways, that about wraps it up. Again, if you guys do want to cop either of these shoes, I try to leave the feeling in the description box, but that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.